Hello everyone, presenting to you the research of Group 2. Please allow me to read the cover page. Ifugao State University, Nayon Lamut Ifugao 3605, Lamut Main Campus, College of Arts and Science. Impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health of third-year BSP students at Ifugao State University. In partial fulfillment of the academic requirement in the field method first semester finals, academic year 2021-2022. Presented to Ma'am Marlene D. Buyukan, Field Method Instructor. Presented by Aklib Sifani, Payatchan M.M., Flores Jamili, Ginhena Menalin. Presented on December 22, 2021. Research title: Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on the Mental Health of Third-Year Bachelor of Science in Psychology students at Ifugao State University. Independent variable: COVID-19 pandemic. Dependent variable: mental health of students. Statement of the problem: this research aimed to know the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health of third-year BSP students at Ifugao State University. Specifically, it aims to answer the following questions. Does COVID-19 pandemic affect the mental health of students? What are the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health of students? What are the coping mechanisms in overcoming the effects of this pandemic in the mental health of students? Research paradigm. Input. The inputs are effect of COVID-19 on the mental health of students and coping mechanism in overcoming the effect of pandemic in the mental health of student. The process are The process is to gather and interpret data through online survey questionnaires. Output: determine the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health of third-year BSP students at IFSU, and to know what are the ways on overcoming or addressing the problems regard on their mental health. Research tool. The research questions want to check or measure on how often respondents experience or feel the statements that are provided below during the pandemic by putting a check if it is always, sometimes, or never. Research introduction. The coronavirus disease 2019, or known as COVID-19 pandemic, has aroused fear and anxiety globally, which may lead to an upsurge in the incidence and severity of mental health problems. Global attention has largely focused on infected patients and frontline health workers. Many universities around the world have implemented preventive measures, including closing campuses or facilities, canceling classes, transitioning to online-based teaching or learning curriculum and examinations, and even postponing practicums. Such disruptions due to the COVID-19 pandemic can exert unique additional pressures, adversely affecting students' mental health with impacts including stress, anxiety, and depression.
Next is the data gathering. In gathering the data, we send survey questions in Google Form to every third year students. Out of 20 plus third year BS psychology students initially enrolled for the first semester, 17 participated in this study. There are 10 irregular students and 7 regular students. The average age was 21 years, and there were more female students than male. Let me read to you the responses of our respondents on the questions, what are your ways in coping mental health problems? Trying to be aware in our emotions and be positive always. Ignore it until I am okay. Meditation, accepting and facing all things. Exercise, funny movies to forget about my problems. I take a break once in a while in order to relax and refresh my mind. I always put in mind that mental sanity is my priority. I just let myself be stressed and I find it later releasing gradually. Whenever I feel uncertain, I write all my emotions in a piece of paper and then burn it. Discussion. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought severe educational and social repercussions, including the closure of college campuses as well as the introduction of online learning and social distancing at universities for the foreseeable future. College students were forced to abandon the social advantages of the so-called college experience to return home mid-semester, say 2019 to 2020. College students comprise a population that is considered particularly vulnerable to mental health concerns. The findings of the studies bring into focus the effects of pandemic-related transition on the mental health and well-being of this specific population. Our findings suggest a considerable negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on a variety of academic, health, and lifestyles related outcomes. By conducting online survey interviews in the midst of the pandemic, we found that a majority of the participants were experiencing increased stress and anxiety due to COVID-19.
The 20 plus third-year BS psychology students initially enrolled for the first semester. 17 participated in this study. There are 10 irregular students and 7 regular students. The average age was 21 years and there were more female students than male. Participants were asked on what are their ways in coping mental health and they have different ways. This includes try to be aware in our emotions and be positive always. Ignore it until I'm okay again. Meditation, accepting and facing all things. Exercise, funny movies to forget about my problems. I take a break once in a while in order to relax and refresh my mind. I always put in mind that mental sanity is my priority. I just let myself be stressed and I find it later releasing gradually. Whenever I feel uncertain, I write all my emotions in a piece of paper and then burn it. In that way, it actually decreases my uncertain mood. Value myself, taking care of my body. Surround myself with good people. Quiet your mind. Staying positive through difficult situations. Trying to hold on to the positive emotions or thoughts as I can. Go for a walk, hiking, getting enough sleep, eating, go taking break, alone time, go to peaceful place, take a break like joining fun run or walk for a cause, detaching myself away from gadgets, hang out with friends, watching funny videos, reading the Bible, play guitar, watching movies, and I make myself busy. Similarly to the other research that respondents were asked to indicate from a list the coping strategies they had utilized within the past month to relieve COVID-19 related stress. The items included listening to music, eating or cooking video or mobile gaming, seeking support from family and friends, browsing the web, positive thinking, exercise, religious support, and meditation. Conducted by other researches, they identifies several coping mechanisms varying between adaptive and maladaptive behaviors. The maladaptive coping behaviors such as denial and disengagement have been shown to be significant predictors of depression among young adults. In contrast, adaptive coping such as acceptance and proactive behaviors are known to positively impact mental health. Our findings suggest that the majority of our participants exhibited maladaptive coping behaviors. Identifying students' coping behavior is important to inform the planning and design of support systems. In this regard, participatory models of the intervention development can be used, in which researchers and psychologists' engagement with the target population to adapt interventional programs to their specific context has shown promise. Similarly, on researchers' other surveys results, the mental health status of the respondents has been most affected by their worries about the health of their loved ones amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. On top of that, many respondents feel uneasy about their plans for their continuing education, anxious about their lack of productivity at home, concerned about their finances and losing job and internship prospects, and worried about contracting the virus. Indeed, most respondents indicated that their concern about the ongoing pandemic largely began when campuses began to shut down or when states issued lockdown guidelines shortly after. These events evidently served as a turning point in the mental health of the respondents. As the pandemic ensued, the respondents reported that their lives were disrupted in significant ways. For instance, many reported to have lost an internship or job offer. Others reported the need to take a gap year. In addition, many respondents indicated that they now have the added responsibility of supporting their family in some way. Of the respondents who claimed that the COVID-19 pandemic strained family relationships, most admitted that it has been harder to work from home than at school.
The limitations. Our study has several limitations. First, the sample size for our interview survey was relatively small compared to typical survey-only studies. Second, the sample used is only from third-year PS Psychology, and findings may not generalize to all students who are enrolled in the college and university as well. Third, we did not analyze how student mental health problems differ by demographic characteristic or other personal and social contexts. The conclusion and recommendation. The outbreak of COVID-19 has taken a universal toll on almost all aspects of life. As cases rapidly increase with great incidence, dense areas and indoor public spaces were closed, and physical distancing as well as other preventive measures were enforced. These safety measures led to abrupt closure of school and educational institution and a rushed transition to remote learning. Many reported worries for the health of loved ones, most impacted their mental health and the need to take care of family, most affected current and future plan. Given that most student concern were heightened when college campuses sent students home as well as the detrimental effect of COVID-19 pandemic on student mental health. It is crucial for colleges as well as federal regulations to provide the appropriate accommodations and access to mental health care to ensure well-being and safety are prioritized as much as if not more than education. Future work could focus on more deeply probing the relationship between various coping mechanisms and stressors. Additionally, further study is needed to determine the effect of the pandemic on student mental health and well-being in its later phases beyond the break period.